Let us get one thing straight right from the start. Aging, which they tell you to just accept, is not a natural process. It is a war, a total war for your masculine sovereignty that you are losing every single morning. You open your eyes. Even before you move, you can already feel it. A dull ache in your lower back, a stiffness in your neck. Your body, which used to be an obedient tool, now greets you like a foreign, hostile machine. You look in the mirror and you do not see a warrior. You see a tired man trying to negotiate with reality. This is the ultimate betrayal, the betrayal of your own flesh. In the world of instincts where we still live, authority is based on physical power, not on your bank account, not on your intellect. When your body makes the sound of rust, your subconscious and the subconscious of everyone around you receives one clear signal. The alpha has grown weak. But this war can still be won. Today, we will not talk about acceptance. We are declaring a mobilization. We will turn your mind into a general headquarters and your body, your main trader, into a disciplined army ready to follow orders. I will not give you a magic pill. I will give you a combat strategy. If you are ready to stop surrendering and start fighting for your rank, make a move. Confirm it by hitting the like button. Let us be brutally honest. The most terrifying marker of your decline is not the gray hair on your temples or a new wrinkle around your eyes. It is a sound. That very morning crunch in your joints when you get out of bed. That very groan when you push yourself up from a deep sofa after a long day. This is not just physiology. It is the audio code of your defeat. You can convince yourself all you want that you are in great shape, that you have experience and status, but your own brain, your ancient reptilian brain, hears this sound and passes a sentence. The mechanism is worn out. The resource is depleted. It is time to make way for the young. This is the psychosomatics of losing status, starting at the deepest primal level. Picture this simple scene. You bend down to tie your shoes. A movement that 20 years ago was as automatic as breathing now requires micro-planning. First, you think about how to bend properly so your back does not give out. And the movement itself is accompanied by that treacherous sound, that quiet creak. And the most terrifying part of this story is that you are not the only one who hears this sound. Your competitors hear it, your subordinates hear it, and it becomes an unconscious signal to them. A signal that the old lion is not what he used to be, that his grip has weakened. But there is someone for whom this sound is louder than any alarm bell. It cancels out all your past achievements, all your money, and all your status. Your woman hears this sound, and it triggers a program in her that you cannot cancel with words. Let us face the truth. Female nature does not forgive weakness. She might pity it, she might care for it, but she will never, listen closely, never desire it. Your lower back pain is not just a medical symptom for her instinct. It is a signal that you can no longer carry the burden of responsibility. Your aching knees are not the aftermath of an old injury. It is a signal that you will not be able to attack or protect. It sounds cynical, but it is the law of nature. Remember, your woman stops desiring you not when she sees your first gray hair or wrinkle. She stops desiring you the exact second she hears your first complaint about fatigue or pain. At that very moment, something clicks inside her. Irreversibly, her ancient program, which was looking for a strong genetic code, receives an alarm signal. Her nature reads the weakened male as an evolutionary dead end, as a bad asset, as a threat to the survival of the offspring, even if those offspring are already grown and living their own lives. It is not her fault. It is her program, written by millions of years of selection. She cannot control it, just like you cannot control the feeling of hunger. And here lies the trap. You think you are sharing your vulnerability with her to get closer, but in reality, you are broadcasting your capitulation. You lose her attraction not because of age, but because you yourself announce your defeat. Your joint crunch, your groaning when you get up from the couch. It is not just a sound, it is the audio marker of your low rank in her eyes. As soon as she reads this signal, she unconsciously starts looking for a replacement, even if she loves you with her mind. But her body, her instinct has already sentenced you. And this sentence is carried out on a chemical level, right in your own blood. Your testosterone is not just a hormone for muscles or libido. It is the chemical fuel for your ambitions. It is the will to dominate, packaged in a molecule. Its decline is not a natural aging process like they tell you. It is the chemical castration of your masculine essence, of your ability to change the reality around you. When the level of this fuel drops, you stop being the pilot of your life and become just a passenger waiting for the final stop. The main enemy in this internal war, the main saboteur in your blood, is not cholesterol and not sugar. Its name is cortisol, the hormone of chronic stress. It is produced when you sleep poorly, when you feel guilty for not meeting the expectations of others, when you fear the future while looking at the numbers in your banking app. You think it is just a bad mood or fatigue? No, it is a silent chemical sabotage that runs 24/7. The mechanism of sabotage is extremely simple and ruthless. Cortisol and testosterone are antagonists. They are like two people on a seesaw. When one is up, the other is down. The more of the hormone of fear and submission in your blood, the less of the hormone of power and will. Your fear of your boss, your guilt before a woman, your anxiety about tomorrow. All this literally devours your masculine essence on a biochemical level. This is not just a metaphor, it is a catastrophe. Picture this scene. You are sitting in your car after a hard day at work. The engine is off. You are staring into the void and feeling not just fatigue, but total powerlessness. A deep, energy-draining emptiness. This is not philosophy. This is cortisol destroying the remains of your testosterone right now. This is the taste of chemical defeat, and until you understand how to stop this internal saboteur, any other fight for status, money, or relationships is lost in advance. How do you break this chemical scenario? How do you turn off cortisol production and pump the fuel of power back into your blood? The answer will surprise you. It does not lie in the realm of rest and relaxation. It lies in the realm of controlled violence against yourself. The first thought that comes to your mind is a mistake. You think you need to rest more. Maybe start jogging in the morning. Sign up for some gentle gymnastics. This is a road to nowhere. This is the logic of a tired slave looking for a way to be slightly less tired. This is not the strategy of a warrior. This is a disposal program disguised as healthcare. To return your male chemistry to the power mode, you need a hormonal strike. Sharp, brutal, and absolutely uncomfortable. Weapon number one in this war is a hormonal hammer blow. I am talking about one heavy basic weight training session a week. Just one. Squats, deadlifts, bench press. And let us clarify right away, this is not for muscles. This is not to impress someone on the beach where you have not been for 10 years. The size of your bicep right now means absolutely nothing. The purpose of this action is completely different. It is pure biochemistry. Your body receiving a signal of critical load, of the need to lift a weight that threatens its integrity, launches an emergency survival protocol. The brain screams, we need resources, we need strength, we need repairs. And in response to this scream, the endocrine system releases two main substances into the blood, testosterone and growth hormone. This is not just doping, it is a complete reboot of your internal operating system. One such workout gives a bigger hormonal boost than a month of passive rest at a resort. It sounds harsh, I know. Your inner saboteur is already whispering, my back hurts, my knees are weak, I am not 20 anymore. That voice is lying to you. But understand the main thing, your back hurts not from the load, but from the lack of it. The muscle corset that is supposed to hold your spine has atrophied. It has turned to jelly, unable to perform its function. Start with an empty bar. Hire a trainer for one session to set your technique. This is not a waste of money. This is an investment in your main asset, your right to strength. Nature is incredibly rational. If an organ or system is not used, it shuts down. If the body does not receive signals that it must be strong, fast, and ready for battle, it draws the only logical conclusion. Its biological mission is accomplished. Its function as a hunter and protector is no longer needed, and it calmly, without emotion, turns on the planned self-destruction program. You are literally giving your body the command to age. Now, the second weapon that cancels this sentence. It is brilliantly simple, and it does not require a single penny from you. It is a cold shower every morning. I see your smirk. You think this is some kind of esoteric or motivational nonsense? But we are not talking about cheerfulness here. We are talking about the chemistry of self-mastery. This is not hygiene. It is your daily warrior ritual that trains your will and rewires your nervous system. When you face the choice of turning on the hot water or the cold, you face the choice of being a slave to comfort or the master of your reality. Let us break down the mechanics. When your body hits ice-cold water, it goes into shock. This is controlled stress that forces your endocrine system to reboot like a frozen computer. Your body receives a signal that conditions are hostile, and it must mobilize all resources to survive. There is an instant release of noradrenaline into the blood, the hormone of rage and peak concentration. Then comes a wave of dopamine. This is the pure chemistry of victory, which you get not for illusory achievements on social media, but for actually overcoming yourself. The psychological effect is even more important. Every morning you start with a small but absolute victory. A victory over your comfort, over your weakness, over that inner voice that whispers, "Let us lie in bed a little longer. Let us skip it today." This winning pattern transfers to your entire day. You stop looking for a warm and safe place. You start taking action. Because your brain has already received a morning dose of confidence that you are capable of overcoming resistance. And most importantly, the cold is a direct strike against systemic inflammation, against that very rust that causes the crunching in your joints and the stiffness in your movements. You literally wash old age out of your body, cell by cell. You extinguish the invisible fire that is burning your resources from the inside. This is not just cold conditioning. It is a targeted sabotage against the aging program launched by your own inaction. We have put out the fire from the inside. Now let us talk about ammunition. And here you will have to make a major shift in your mindset. Stop treating food as pleasure. Food is your fuel, your ammunition, and you are either loading your weapon or you are deliberately sabotaging your own army right before the decisive battle. Your stomach is not a place for entertainment. It is your main strategic factory for producing energy and building materials for your body. And you, as a general, are 100% responsible for the quality of the raw materials that enter this factory. Let us honestly identify the enemy that is already dug into your territory: sugar and flour. Everything that contains fast carbohydrates. These are not just empty calories. This is a chemical weapon that the system uses against you. It is an internal saboteur that turns your willpower into mush. Every time you eat something sweet, there is a sharp spike of insulin in your blood. This hormone immediately blocks all fat-burning processes and gives the body a command to store energy. But what is even worse, it provokes that very fire of systemic inflammation. Your joints start creaking not from age, but from the sugar you pour on them. Your diet must be the diet of a predator, not a herbivore grazing on a lawn of consumer goods. The foundation of your nutrition is meat, fish, eggs, and most importantly, healthy fats. Avocado, nuts, olive oil. Society has demonized fats for decades, but it was just another trap set by the system. Your main male hormone, testosterone, is synthesized from cholesterol. That is its building material. If your diet lacks high-quality fats, your body simply has nothing to build your masculine essence from. It is a law of nature. No raw materials, no product. Every meal is your choice. Either you fuel your machine for victory, or you pour sweet poison into the tank that guarantees your defeat. Society tries to sell you the idea that sweets are a reward for hard work. That is a trap for children. For a grown man, the reward is mental clarity. It is a steady level of energy throughout the day. It is strength and calmness. Your internal chemistry should once again smell of power and control, not a cheap sugar coma. And now, let us do a quick check. Before we move on to building defensive readouts, I want to ask you a direct question. I need feedback from everyone on this side of the screen. Write in the comments, are you watching this video right now? Or are you just listening to my voice while doing your own thing? Maybe you are driving. Is this information entering your mind in the background? Or are you wearing headphones, alone with these thoughts? This is not idle curiosity. It is an attention audit. It is important for us to understand how you receive this information, so we can make our breakdowns as precise and effective as possible. Consider this an operational report for our headquarters. Your answer helps us calibrate our weapons. We have conducted a chemical mobilization of your body through nutrition and hormonal strikes. Now, it is time to build impenetrable bastions that will protect your strength 24/7. The first and most important of them is the one you forget about most often. Your army, your body, stands on three indestructible bastions. They are movement, fuel, and sleep. If movement is your maneuvers and food is your ammunition, then sleep is your main repair dock. It is the holy of holies where your army recovers after battle. You can have the best weapons and the most cunning tactics, but if your soldiers do not rest, you will lose the war before dawn. Most men consider sleep a passive state, a pause. This is a catastrophic mistake. Let me show you what actually happens when you close your eyes. The deep recovery protocol is activated. It is exactly in the slow wave sleep phase, when your brain disconnects from external chaos, that the body begins its main work. Your endocrine system synthesizes up to 70% of its daily dose of growth hormone. This is the substance that literally patches micro-damage in muscles after exercise, renews cells, and burns fat. At the same time, there is a calibration of the nervous system and a clearing of metabolic waste from the brain that is accumulated during the day. This is not rest, it is a general cleanup and a major overhaul of your combat machine. Now let us look at what you do instead. You sacrifice this sacred time for empty vanity, for another episode of a meaningless show, for endless scrolling on your phone where they show you the successful life of someone else so you feel your own insignificance more sharply. The blue light from the screen directly blocks the production of melatonin, the sleep hormone. You are not just unable to fall asleep, you are voluntarily opening the gates of your fortress to the enemy. The system needs exactly this kind of tired and anxious person who seeks comfort in consumption. Every hour of sleep stolen from yourself is a direct hit to your testosterone. Sleep deprivation, especially chronic, forces your adrenal glands to release a massive dose of cortisol into the blood in the morning. You wake up not rested, but already tired, already in a state of stress. From the first minutes of the day, your body operates in survival mode, not in dominance mode. Your testosterone, which should reach its peak exactly in the morning, ends up suppressed by this cortisol storm. You start the day chemically castrated. You start the day already defeated. Therefore, here is my order, which is not open for discussion. 7 or 8 hours of sleep every night in complete and absolute darkness, in total silence. Remove all light sources. Turn off your phone an hour before sleep. Your bedroom must become not a place for entertainment, but your personal repair dock, your hyperbaric chamber for recovery. This is not a luxury available only to the elite. This is basic military discipline. Your tomorrow, your victories, your decisions, and your will are not forged in the morning. They are forged in the silence and darkness of the previous night. Remember this. Your day begins not with the alarm clock, but from the moment you turn off the light. We have fortified the first bastion, the repair dock of the night. Now the army awaits orders and fuel. We have already talked about exactly what to eat. Now we will talk about the most important thing, how to think about food. This is not dietetics for housewives. This is ammunition engineering for your personal war. You must stop being a consumer of food and become its designer. Your mind must turn into the chief engineer who selects only high-quality, high-octane fuel for your combat machine. Your body after 50 is not a firecracker that flashes brightly and goes out. It is a heavy diesel engine. It needs long, steady, powerful energy. Carbohydrates, especially fast ones like sugar and flour, are exactly the fuel for a firecracker. They give a short flash of euphoria, a sharp spike in blood sugar, and then an equally sharp crash. You feel this every day after lunch when you are drawn to sleep. This is not fatigue, this is chemical sabotage. Proteins and healthy fats, on the contrary, provide the principle of clean burning. They provide steady traction for many hours without spikes and crashes. You must work like a diesel engine that slowly and inevitably pulls a heavy train. So now, every time before you put something in your mouth, ask yourself one question. Look at your plate. What is on it? A kit for assembling a strong, energetic body, or a kit for accelerated aging and disposal? Every meal is a choice of sides in this war. You either feed your strength, or you feed your weakness and your inflammation. A third option does not exist. This is not just food. This is your strategic decision that you make 3 times a day, and the sum of these decisions determines who you will be in a year, a predator or a victim. Society sells you the illusion that tasty food is a reward. Sweet, greasy, salty. This is a trap designed for a child mind. For a man, the reward is not a momentary pleasure on the tongue. For a man, the reward is energy for great deeds, clarity of mind to make the right decisions, physical power to dominate his space. When you change this paradigm in your head, you stop being a slave to your receptors. You become the master of your chemistry. This hormone, insulin, becomes your main enemy or ally. When you eat carbohydrates, the pancreas releases insulin to remove sugar from the blood. Insulin is the key master that opens fat cells and shoves excess energy in there. As long as insulin in the blood is high, fat burning is completely blocked. Completely. Your belly, your spare tire, is a direct result of constant insulin swings. By switching to predator fuel, you keep insulin low, and then your body gets the command to burn its own reserves. You turn your fat from ballast into a fuel tank. Your mind is an engineer. Your body is a machine. The engineer should not have emotions about fuel. He simply chooses the one that gives maximum efficiency and minimum wear. Emotions are the enemy here. Self-pity, the desire to reward yourself with a piece of cake, social pressure at the table. All this is sabotage. You must become a cold, ruthless engineer of your body, and then this machine will serve you long and flawlessly. We have built 2 bastions, strength training as a hormonal hammer, predator fuel as an engineering calculation. But even the most powerful engine and the best gasoline are useless if the chassis of the machine falls apart on the go. We have approached the 3rd bastion, which many men ignore until a disaster strikes. These are maneuvers. After 50, you are no longer a tank smashing through obstacles. That is a game for the young, who have plenty of spare parts and cheap repairs. Your new role is the role of a Special Forces commander. A tank is strong, but clumsy. It leaves a deep rut and wastes a huge amount of fuel. At your age, this means joint wear and the accumulation of microtraumas that do not have time to heal. That very crunch we talked about is the sound of tired metal. You might bench press 100 kilograms, but if you cannot pick up dropped keys from the floor without pain, your strength is an illusion. It is a facade hiding fragility. It is a strength you cannot apply in real life without the risk of breaking. A Special Forces operative does not smash through a wall. He finds a door or a window. His strength is not in mass, but in the efficiency of every movement. Your new priority becomes not the size of your bicep, but joint mobility and muscle elasticity. Stretching after a workout. Joint gymnastics in the morning. Swimming is not entertainment for retirees. These are tactical maneuvers that preserve your combat readiness and expand your arsenal of movements. When you return lightness and freedom of movement to your body, something more important happens than just physical relief. Your brain, your general, receives a report from the battlefield. A report that the army is mobile again, that it is capable of quick and precise maneuvers. This signal erases the aging program. It removes that very background anxiety born from the feeling of physical weakness. When you feel lightness in your body, your mind begins to believe in your right to the throne again. This is a law. What happens if you ignore this bastion? If you continue to pump iron but forget about flexibility, your muscles become strong but rigid. Your ligaments lose elasticity. You turn into old cast iron. It is very hard but fragile. One awkward blow, one sudden movement, and it cracks. This is the exact injury that knocks a man out of action for months. A torn ligament, a herniated disc in the spine. This is not an accident. This is the natural outcome of the tank strategy on a battlefield where special forces precision is needed. It sounds too simple. Could a little stretching really be more important than a heavy deadlift? That is the voice of your old ego, the tank driver ego, accustomed to measuring strength in kilograms on the barbell. But a real general measures strength in years of active service. Your task is not to set a personal record today, only to lie in ruins tomorrow. Your task is to stay in the ranks until you are 90 years old. Mobility is not an alternative to strength, it is its insurance policy. It is what allows you to apply your strength safely and effectively for decades. We have fortified 3 bastions: hormones, fuel, and movement. But there is another enemy, the most cunning of all. It is invisible. It operates from within. And its name is systemic inflammation. That same morning crunch in your joints, that same stiffness when you get up from a chair, that dull lower back pain after a long drive. All this time, you thought these were just signs of aging, irreversible wear and tear on parts. But this enemy has a specific scientific name. It is chronic systemic inflammation. In science, this phenomenon is called inflammaging, a fusion of 2 words, inflammation and aging. This is exactly that invisible rust that slowly but surely corrodes your body from the inside. Imagine a steel cable. It can withstand a huge load, but if moisture gets on it and it starts to rust, its strength drops day by day. On the outside, it might look almost intact, but one day, under the next load, it will simply snap. The same thing happens with your body. Inflammation is internal corrosion. It does not scream about itself, it acts quietly, damaging cell after cell, blood vessel after blood vessel. This is the most cunning saboteur because it uses your own resources against you. Who is slipping this saboteur into your camp? You are. Every time you eat sweet or starchy foods, you pour gasoline onto this internal fire. Sugar is the main catalyst for inflammation in the human body. It forces your immune system to operate in a state of constant alarm. Alcohol, poor sleep, chronic stress at work. All this does not just ruin your mood. All of these are powerful activators of systemic inflammation. You are literally creating with your own hands an environment where old age feels right at home. This rust is not limited to your joints. That would be too simple. Chronic inflammation damages the walls of your blood vessels, preparing the ground for a heart attack. It penetrates the blood-brain barrier and causes inflammation in the brain. Hence the constant fatigue, brain fog, and inability to concentrate. Your general headquarters is on fire. How can you make strategic decisions if your main command organ is under constant attack? You lose not just your health, you lose mental clarity. A mature man primary weapon. And now for the most important part. Everything we discussed up to this point. Strength training, cold showers, predator fuel, deep sleep. These were not random healthy lifestyle tips. These were elements of a single, targeted, anti-inflammatory strategy. It was preparation for the main battle against an invisible enemy. You thought you were just pumping muscles. No. You were forcing them to produce myokines, substances that are powerful suppressors of inflammation. You thought you were just toughening up with a cold shower? No, you were conducting an emergency reboot of the nervous system and reducing the level of inflammatory markers in the blood. This is a proven scientific fact. You thought you were simply switching to a diet of meat and fats. No. You were depriving your main enemy, inflammation, of its favorite food. Sugar. You were literally starving it. You thought you were just fixing your sleep? No. You were launching the nightly protocol of clearing the brain of inflammatory proteins accumulated during the day. Each of these actions is not just a step towards strength, it is a precise strike against the main mechanism of your aging. You do not just become stronger or more endurant, you systematically extinguish the internal fire. You stop the corrosion. You return to your body not a youthful appearance, but internal engineering integrity. And here we come to the final saboteur, the one sitting in your head, whispering that all of this is too complicated. It sounds harsh. It sounds too hard. Do you think it is too late to change anything at my age? Or maybe just accept myself as I am and relax? A familiar voice. That whisper in your head that promises peace in exchange for surrender. You must know your enemy by sight. That is not your mind talking. It is your internal saboteur talking, your internal slave to comfort. Let us call him the deer. This voice is not yours. It is a program implanted in you by the system. Understand one simple thing. The system does not need a strong, independent predator full of energy. It does not need a man who controls his reality. It needs an obedient consumer. It needs a weak, sick, doubting client for pharmacies and the entertainment industry. This voice whispering to you about peace is the voice of the matrix trying to return you to the stall. It promises you acceptance, but it is a lie. This is not acceptance. It is a surrender of positions. This voice always activates at the moment when you stand on the threshold of real changes, when you decide to take responsibility for your body and your life. Its task is to drag you back into the warm swamp of inaction, where nothing happens and nothing changes, where you can peacefully live out your days complaining about your sores and the government. Let us face the truth. Every time you choose the couch over a workout, every time your hand reaches for a sweet instead of a piece of meat, every time you put off a cold shower until tomorrow, you are not just showing weakness, you are paying tribute to this system. With your own hands, you are handing over to it your rank, your energy, and the attraction of your woman. Your compromise with comfort is a direct act of sabotage against your own masculine sovereignty. This inner whiner is the most dangerous saboteur. He operates from within. He knows all your fears and excuses. He speaks with your voice. He appeals to your fatigue, but his ultimate goal is one: complete and unconditional defeat. When you listen to him, your body gets an order to self-destruct. Your brain stops giving commands to produce testosterone. Your adrenal glands begin to flood the blood with cortisol. Your will to live melts away on a chemical level. Therefore, there is only one order: silence this inner traitor. Do not argue with him. Do not engage in a dialogue with him. Any argument is already a loss because you waste energy on it. Your task is to learn to ignore it, to hear its whisper, nod, and go do what you decided. Just go. Lift the weight, step under the ice-cold water, refuse the dessert. Victory in this war begins with suppressing the internal mutiny. When you learn to control this voice instead of submitting to it, you will reach a new level. You will cease to be a slave to your momentary desires and become the general of your army. And then we can talk about real strategy, about the mind of a general. We are approaching the main point, the core of our entire strategy. Everything that came before, strength training, cold, nutrition, sleep, all of this was army preparation. We were putting the soldiers in order, cleaning weapons and patching armor. But any army, even the strongest one, without a competent general is just a mob doomed to defeat. Your body is an army, an aging army, but you, your consciousness, is its immortal general. Your main strength after 50 shifts from your muscles to your head, from physical endurance to the precision of strategic calculation. And to access this power, you must perform one ritual, the most difficult and important ritual in the life of a man. And the first step to this greatness is death, the death of your physical ego. You must hold a funeral, a mental but real funeral. You must stand in front of the mirror and say goodbye to the guy you were at 25 or 30. That guy could stay awake for 3 days and then make a decision. He could lift 150 kilograms off the floor. He could drink a bottle of hard liquor and go to work the next morning as if nothing happened. He could afford to treat his body as an infinite resource. He is gone. He is dead. Acknowledge this fact. Mourn him if you must, but accept it as a given. As long as you cling to this ghost from the past, you are doomed to lose. You will constantly compare your current self to him. This comparison will always be to your disadvantage. This phantom will poison your present, draining your strength. Accepting this death is not a defeat. It is your transition to the highest level of the game. It is the moment when you stop being just a strong soldier and become a wise general. You stop measuring strength and start measuring intellect. You are no longer a tank smashing through, sweeping everything out of its path. You are now the master operating this tank from a safe distance. You are the conductor forcing the orchestra to play by your rules. Your power is no longer in brute force, but in the ability to see the whole picture, in the ability to predict the moves of the opponent 3 steps ahead. Here is the moment of your sovereignty. You no longer try to catch up with the young. You do not compete with them on their turf, where speed and endurance decide everything. That is foolish and pointless. You are playing a different game. Rules they do not yet know. They run faster, but you know the shortcut. They hit harder, but you know where to hit to inflict maximum damage with minimal energy expenditure. You know the map of this life. They only see the fog of war. And here we come to your main secret weapon, your tactical nuclear potential that cannot be copied or bought. It is your life experience, multiplied by a healthy, cold cynicism. The young might laugh at this, call it senile grumbling. They simply do not understand what is in front of them. They see a tired man. But in reality, they are looking at an old wolf who knows all the trails in this forest. Trails the lambs do not even suspect exist. Your cynicism is not fatigue with life. It is your X-ray machine that sees right through people. When a hot-blooded young guy hears a promise, he believes the words. You, however, hear only what is behind those words. You see fear, greed, ambition, insecurity. You have learned to read nonverbal codes that are just white noise to others, a slight twitch at the corner of the lips. A glance held too long, a topic changed too quickly. For you, this is no longer a coincidence. It is intelligence data. You have seen hundreds of such combinations, and you know how they end. This knowledge gives you a power that 20-year-olds can only read about in books. Use it. Turn your calmness and composure into an instrument of total domination over those who are younger, but stupider and more impulsive. Picture this scene: a negotiation. Across from you sits a young, aggressive opponent. He is nervous, raises his voice, tries to pressure you with his energy. He thinks that aggression is strength. But you sit absolutely motionless. You look him straight in the eyes without looking away. And when he finishes his fiery speech, you do not answer. You pause. This pause lasts 3 seconds, 5 seconds. A silence hangs in the room, becoming as dense as mercury. His confidence begins to crack. He is waiting for your reaction, your shout, your excuse, and you just stay silent and watch. There is more power in this pause than in his entire half-hour monologue. With this pause, you tell him that his rules do not apply here, that you are playing on a different level. And when you finally start to speak, your voice is calm and quiet. Every word of yours hits the target exactly. You do not argue with him. You simply state facts that destroy his entire construct. He lost before you even opened your mouth. That is what a shift in focus is. Your power is no longer in the speed of your strike, but in the absolute precision of your decision. Your task is not to run the fastest, but to know the shortcut while others run in circles. You cease to be just a soldier on the battlefield. You became the one who draws the maps for this battle. You ceased to be muscles. You became a mind. And this is the greatest victory you can achieve in the war against time. You did not stop it. You simply moved into a different weight class where time becomes your ally, not your enemy. Let us draw the line. The war on aging cannot be won by trying to bring back youth. That is a trap for your ego. This war can only be won by taking full, total, second-by-second control over what you have today. Your body is not a traitor. It is a loyal soldier who has simply waited too long for orders from his general. Your task is not to make it run like it did at 20. Your task is to make it follow your orders today. Clearly, without fail, and without that humiliating senile groaning. Victory is not eternal youth. Victory is absolute control. Let us look into the future. In just a few years, in 2030, you could find yourself in one of two realities. The first reality is a frail old man who smells of medicine and evokes not attraction in women, but instinctive pity. A man who struggles to climb the stairs. His body is an archive of his defeats. He has been written off the evolutionary balance sheet, and everything around him feels it. He is simply living out his days, being a burden to his loved ones, and a blank space for the system. Or you could end up in a different reality. In that same year, 2030, you will be a lean predator with an icy stare. A man whose body obeys his will like a well-oiled machine. A man whose age is not a weakness, but an armor forged of experience and steel. He does not try to look young. He does not need to. His rank and his status are written in his posture, in his calmness, in his ability to make decisions while others panic. You do not have time to hesitate. The time to choose your scenario is right now. Every missed action is a nail in the coffin of that first pathetic version of your future. The system needs a weak, sick, dependent consumer. A consumer of pills, cheap entertainment, and home loans. It needs a man who is afraid of his own shadow and seeks comfort in illusions. Here we are building a territory of free, masculine mind. We are restoring physical and mental sovereignty. Therefore, do not be surprised if one day this video simply disappears. The algorithms work for the Matrix, and we are cracking its codes. If this channel is blocked, it will mean only one thing. We hit the very nerve of the system. We have become too dangerous for its stability. Therefore, act immediately. Subscribe to the Hidden Mind channel so you do not lose it when the system begins its purge. Watching this to the very end is not just a number in the statistics. It is a signal to the algorithms that this truth cannot be hidden. Your like is not gratitude. It is a bullet in the magazine of our resistance. Become a sponsor if your resources allow it. This is fuel for our headquarters. This is your direct contribution to the war for masculine sovereignty. In the next episode, we will go even deeper into the basements of the human psyche. I will show you the mechanism that controls your reality from the shadows. Subscribe to the Hidden Mind so you do not miss this breakdown, because after it, your world will never be the same. All the keys to your power have always been in your head. There is only one question. Are you ready to take command again, or will you let your body